The game today I'm going to be reviewing on this episode of the Game Closet is What's Yours Like? Now, I know it kind of looks like it's upside down, but it's not. But this is a fun party game that I picked up not too long ago. It goes from 4 to, 4 or more players. I played it with 8, or even more than 8, through the night, and it was really fun. When you first open What's Yours Like, all you get in the box is a set of rules that are very simple and very straightforward. A card hider, a box of cards, double-sided, orange and purple, with 2 different types of words, 2 identical dry erase markers, and 2 identical, let's make that right side up, 2 identical dry erase boards. And that's it, and it all comes from this box. Now I'm going to give you an example of how a turn works. It's very simple. Somebody decides to be in the hot seat, and then they pass this box of cards to the person on their left. They draw a card, and the player to the left gets to choose between the words morning. Let's see, it looks kind of backwards, but the player gets to choose between morning, or on the purple side, office or cubicle. And what the player on the left does is slide it into this card holder, looks, decides what side the round is going to be played with, and then passes it to everybody around the table. Now everybody looks at it. Once everybody looks at it, what they're trying to do is stump the player in the hot seat and give the player in the hot seat the most points as possible. The point of the game is to get the lowest amount of points at the end of a determined rounds of play. Once everybody looks at it, the player in the hot seat asks the player on their left, "What's yours like?" They have to say that, or the player on the left will give them a freebie, which is not really good. And what they have to do is speak as truthfully as they can. They have to at least answer what's yours like. And then after, the player gives them the clue, the player in the hot seat has a marker and a dry erase board and writes down each clue of whatever they were given by the players. Now the player who is guessing what the word is, like if the magic word was swimsuit, people could say mine is tight, mine has yellow polka dots. You can barely see mine. You can kind of see where this is kind of going. This game can get pretty raunchy if you have the right group of people. But the player in the hot seat can blurt out any words that come to mind. Once they got it, that player's turn ends, and they reveal the card. You laugh, you have fun, and then you count up how many clues it took that player to get to that specific word on a specific card on a specific word on the card, and then that's how many points they get. And after a certain number of rounds or a time limit, then the game ends and the player with the lowest total wins. And there's also a second type of card in the game. They're called challenge cards. Now what happens is if somebody draws a challenge card from the deck, the player who is in the hot seat gets to choose one other player, and those 2 players go to a head-on-head duel. And everybody else, besides those 2 players, gets to look at the card. That they'll pick the next card after the challenge card is picked. the next player will pick a card and passes it to the remaining players, who formulate their answers to what yours like, and whoever gets it in the duel gets subtracted 2 points from their score. And then after that, the player who pulled, like if I pulled the challenge, let's see. Then after the challenge is completed, that same player gets to take their regular turn, because each turn people have to, somehow accumulate points. So let's say Bob is dueling somebody. So he was in the hot seat before. Now that wasn't a regular turn, so he gets to take another turn, like his regular turn. And then after that, you can go around the table as many times as you like until you're like, okay, I'm tired, whatever. Another rule is that you cannot draw more than, I think, 2 challenge cards. You can't draw them back to back. But that's it. The game is very simple, from probably teenage age to up. I was actually surprised, but I really like this game, and I think you should pick it up.